You're listening to the Music Business Breakthrough Podcast with me, your host, Grammy-nominated artist and certified trauma-informed success coach, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. A question I get a lot is, how did you never lose money on tour, Cheryl? Which is true. I never lost money on tour. And one of the big reasons because of that is house concerts. I got really good at booking house concerts on off days. Ideally, I was playing venues Friday and Saturday nights, but sometimes Sunday brunch or Saturday afternoon or even a Thursday evening, there was an opportunity to engage with a fan and show up at their house and do a house concert for their friends and family. This can be very, very lucrative, not just financially, but also in terms of growing your fan base and finding your superfans. Most of my superfans came out of my house concerts. I mean, what better way to connect with fans than sitting in their living room, talking about a song or talking about this picture that's on their wall and really connecting with them as human beings. House concerts are also great, not just when you're on tour, but in between releases, in between tours, and of course during the holiday seasons. Any holiday season, whether it's Valentine's Day, Christmas, or the 4th of July, you can figure out what is your music best for. Like, is it outdoor barbecue in the summertime music? Is it a wine and cheese indoors in a parlor? Anything is possible as long as you're really clear on what are the options. Can you take your big rock band sound and do an acoustic trio, or break down your big jazz band into solo or duo? Anything is possible as long as you know what you want to walk away from this house concert with. So let's get clear on how to actually book this type of concert. My favorite way, of course, was through my email list, but I would start with a local Google search because now there's a bunch of companies and different organizations and communities that host house concerts and have a list of people ready to host a house concert to strangers in the community. So you might be able to find a house concert in your local community or wherever you're touring simply by searching house concerts, house concert community in that city. What I would do with my email list is I would email my list and say, I'm going on tour here. I have a couple time slots open, and I would love to know if you're in the area or if you know anyone in the area that would like to host a private, intimate concert with me. If I'm not going on tour, maybe it's an email saying, hey, I've got a little lull in my schedule and I've got a couple slots available. Would you like to talk about me hosting your next party or me performing at your anniversary party or your birthday party or whatever? So there's a lot of different ways you can approach that. Once someone replies to your email and says, I'm interested, then you get to start creating what this looks like. I really like to be in partnership with the people that are hosting my concerts. I don't want to feel like I'm trying to get them to pay me more. I don't want them to feel like they're getting gypped. I like to talk to them as if they are a venue and there is a win-win for both of us and for their guests. So a couple ways you can structure this to make sure that you walk away financially in a better place is you can say right up front is I need to walk away with a guaranteed number. So that could be $500. And then you can leave it up to the host to figure out how to make that happen, whether they pay out of pocket, whether they ask their guests to contribute, or they encourage their guests to pay for your merch. I always mark up my merch at house concerts, by the way. That intimacy really allows people to feel like they want to take a souvenir home with them, and they're more likely to pay a little bit more for the merch that you have than if you were just at a normal venue. So don't be afraid to mark up whatever merch and CDs you do have. You can ask the host for a flat fee. You can ask the host to have their guests pay a ticket like they're coming to a concert, but it's way more convenient because it's in their living room and they're going to be really comfortable, or maybe it's in their backyard. You can also have the host encourage to purchase your merch or pass around a tip jar with a suggested donation. When I get to the house concert, once we've negotiated all of that, sometimes I get a deposit up front. I definitely have a contract so that they know they're on the hook and they know what to expect and it feels really professional. But once I get there, I'm all about just creating that really loving partnership relationship, and I make it really easy for them to host. One of the ways I do that is I have a note card with an introduction for me so that the host doesn't have to worry about how to introduce me. Sometimes people that host house concerts are actually not great in front of crowds and they get a little stage fright, but it is so much better in my experience to have someone else introduce you and for someone else to say that there's going to be a tip jar or that there's merch available than for you to say it. Of course, you're going to want to say it and supplement and remind people. But when they set that tone and it's coming from the host, it usually goes a lot better. So if they're not great in front of crowds, and sometimes they are, but if they're not great, I always have a note card as an option and say, hey, if you want to read this, I have this ready to go. And usually it's a sentence or two about me. Maybe it connects me to the town if there is some sort of connection. It has any sort of accolades that the people in the room might know about, like a Grammy nomination sounds really cool. So of course I'm going to share about that. And then I say whatever the particular goal is for me, I make sure that it's clear. Like I have new merch and I'm giving you a discount, or there's a bundle, or I'd love to take you home with me. Here's the stuff. It's over there in behind the parlor. Like make it really, really clear where the stuff is, how they can get it. I'll sign it for you, blah, blah, blah. So put that all on the card so that the host can read that and say, this is our artist, and make sure that you go get her CD over there and the sweatshirt and da 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 da, and here we go. And write out that little script. Make it really easy for the host. Make sure you build in time to hang out before and after the show so that you can tell more stories, you can lock in those relationships, and get every single guest on your email list. You know I was going to say that one, right? The last thing that worked really well for me is while I am there on stage, one of the things I say towards the end of my in-between song banter is I let people know that I'm available to go perform at their party or their house concert. So I like to walk away with at least one new booking before the show is even over. Plant that seed that you're available to come back for their birthdays, anniversaries, holiday parties, or just to create an event during a slow part of the year for them, and that you'd love to come to their house and meet all of their friends. If you're worried how to even invite your fan list to consider hosting a house concert, I have an email template ready to go. It's in my email template bundle. You can get that on the app Releaseify. Go download it today. I'll see you in the next episode.